morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a Rowlet Alolan Exeggutor deck. Yes, it's a Tag Team GX. Yes, it won on the very first day it was legal. This is what happened with Tag Team GXs, apparently. They're all really good. And I like this one a lot. So we need to remind ourselves about Rowlet Alolan Exeggutor, because it's the first attack here that is probably the most exciting thing about the card. For 0 energy, you can evolve one of your grass Pokemon on the bench straight away. But to be clear, you can evolve it straight into a stage 2. You can put a basic grass down, and then for 0 energy, evolve it into a stage 2. Now the trade-off here is you're leaving a free prize Tag Team GX Pokemon in the active, but if your opponent can't get a KO on this, you can basically just get a free stage 2 out, like right away. It's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. It's ridiculous. Now, in terms of the other attacks here, they're not too bad. This isn't really our main attacker, but there are other decent attacks. Free energy, 150, heal 30 is fine. It's not terribly exciting. If you're hitting for weakness, great. Otherwise, meh. And then free grass energy, 200 damage. But if you've got free extra energy attached to it, you shuffle all energy attached to each of your opponent's Pokemon into their deck. And the two questions with which Rowlet Alolan Exeggutor leave us are, number one, how the goodness are we going to get 6 energy on this? Because that is a great GX attack. Seriously, you get rid of all of their energy while probably getting a KO. That's redonk. And secondly, what stage 2 are we going to use for the first attack? And the answer to both of those questions is Venusaur. Now, don't get me wrong, Venusaur can attack. And to be honest, Venusaur is your non-GX attacker here. Now, look, I'm not saying we attack with Venusaur for the whole game. That's not a great idea. But I am saying that we can attack with Venusaur here. And I am saying that sometimes it will be good. And you're basically rolling with Tag Team GXs and this. So sometimes, yeah, you're going to be attacking with Venusaur. And it takes 4 energy, which is less than ideal, and it does 90 damage. But really, it's the ability for Venusaur we're looking at here. It doubles all of your grass energy. So actually, Venusaur does 90 damage for 2 energy, which is quite nice. And it means Rowlet Alolan Exeggutor's ridiculous GX attack isn't for 6 energy, it's for 3. And that is a huge, huge difference here. And in the early game, our plan is extremely simple. We want to get Venusaur out with Rowlet Alolan Exeggutor. That's our early game plan. Now, we want to attack with Rowlet Alolan Exeggutor, but generally speaking, we like the GX attack. The main attack isn't amazing. Because our main attacker here, in terms of a kind of turn-to-turn attacker, is Rayquaza GX. That's who we're using mostly here. Now, Rayquaza's got a great attack for Lightning Grass Colorless Energy that does 30 damage for each basic grass or lightning energy that you've got in play. So the good news is that Venusaur turns all of your grass energy into 2 grass energy, which means that each of those energy doesn't mean that Rayquaza does 30 extra, it means it does 60 extra. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to add up very quickly indeed. Although annoyingly it does mean you will have to play a couple of lightning energy here, because otherwise you won't be able to attack with Rayquaza. Cool. But you see, here's the thing. We're loving that Venusaur doubles the energy, and that's lovely, and we thank Venusaur for doing that. But the fact of the matter is, we still need to get energy onto the field. Doubling it's great, but as I've said in a number of videos discussing Venusaur, it's great for doubling energy, but it doesn't get more energy on the field. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we've got Rayquaza's GX attack, whereby when you put it down onto the field, you can discard the top 3 cards of your deck, and then a basic energy that you discard and it doesn't have to be from the ability, it just has to be in the discard pile, can then be attached to Rayquaza. So as long as you've got an energy in the discard, you can guarantee to get it. If you don't, you can still use the ability, but you run the risk of discarding the top 3 cards of your deck and not actually hitting it, which would kind of suck. But really here, we're rocking Naganadel. You see, Naganadel's got a wonderful ability whereby once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy of any description from your discard pile to Naganadel. Well, now we're great. Because Venusaur gets your energy doubled, Naganadel gets your energy on the field, and then Rayquaza says, cheers boys, now I'm doing an extra 60 damage. So if you've got 2 Naganadel on the field, and you get 2 grass energy out with Naganadel, now all of a sudden that's 120 extra damage. Just from those 2 Naganadel. Do we see how this is adding up pretty gosh darn quickly, ladies and gentlemen? Do we see how it's adding up? Generally speaking, Venusaur should be too slow, but seriously, if you can get a Bulbasaur on the bench, and we're actually playing the Detective Pikachu Bulbasaur here, which is awesome. If you can get a Bulbasaur onto the bench, and you can get a Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor into the active, you don't even need any energy, you will have your Venusaur. It's as simple as that. And then Naganadel's a stage 1 and Rayquaza's a basic. It's really not that inconsistent. Now, there's one more Pokemon we play here. It's Tapu Lele. It searches out your supporters. We get it. Most decks play Tapu Lele. Now, in terms of the trainer line here, there are a couple of slightly weirder things, including 3 copies of Energy Switch. An Energy Switch in this deck is absolutely huge. Because, you see, we can get 1 energy on Rayquaza by attaching for the turn. And we can get 1 energy onto Rayquaza using the ability, although that is a little bit risky because you are discarding the top 3 cards of your deck. Clearly that can go wrong. But if we want to get a Rayquaza going straight away, that's not good enough. We need a 3rd energy. And that's where Energy Switch comes in. You see, Naganadel attaches the energy to itself, and it doesn't really matter where the energy is. Now you can switch it straight over to Rayquaza. Now, I do also want to point out here that Rayquaza's attack cost is Grass, Lightning, Colourless, so if you've got a Venusaur in play, 1 Grass energy, 1 Lightning will pay this, so you can either use the ability or use Energy Switch, and then do your attachment for the turn, which does make things easier. But maybe you want to use Energy Switch to get Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor going, because even with a Venusaur in play, you still need free energy on there. That can be difficult. Energy Switch can be used to get Rayquaza going, because it is an awkward attack cost, hence why it's traditionally been played with stuff like Vikavolt. Or it can be used to get Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor going. It doesn't really matter. The point is, you do have a bunch of Pokemon here that need a bunch of energy, and this helps rather a lot. Now, we also see a couple copies of Reset Stamp. Of course we do, ladies and gentlemen. Of course we do. Your opponent shuffles a hand into their deck and draws a number of cards equal to their remaining prizes. It's a one-sided N. It's ridiculous. It's going to see play in basically every deck. Now, in terms of the Pokemon search here, we're playing 4 copies of Nest Ball. Because the only evolution you're ever going to really need here is Naganadel. Because Venusaur should be being evolved using your attack from Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor. So you're cool. But we also do play 2 copies of Mysterious Treasure, because other than your tag team, all the other Pokemon are Psychic or Dragon. And then we play 2 copies of Ultra Space, because we still do need to get that evolving Naganadel. And Ultra Space will help us out beautifully here. And then 1 Pokemon Communication, 1 Ultra Ball, because, you know, why not, ladies and gentlemen? Why not? It just really gives you that consistency. And then we got 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher to get all of your Pokemon back. The other slightly weird thing here is 2 copies of Volkner, because this gets you an item card and a lightning energy, and you're only playing like 3 lightning energy here, or maybe 4. You're not playing all that many anyway. So what you need to do here is make sure that you've got it when you need it for Rayquaza. This just gives you a way of searching it, while also giving you an item card like, in fact, your energy switch or your reset stamp. We're playing a single copy of Rare Candy because, okay, most of the time you're going to use Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor, but there's still going to be those games where you can't, where for whatever reason you don't get it evolved up in that way. So having one Rare Candy means you can evolve up the traditional Rare Candy way, and of course Volkner will search it out. And then we got one copy of Field Blower, fairly standard, get rid of tools and stadiums, and one copy of Switch as a switching card, shockingly enough. And then in terms of your other supporters, it's fairly straightforward. 4 Cynthia, 2 Lily, they're the best draw cards in the game, and a couple of Guzma because they are both a switch, and a way of gusting another Pokemon into the active. This is a good deck, and yes, I know that it's primarily Rayquaza that's your main attacker, but it's only good enough because of Venusaur, and Venusaur's only viable because of Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor. Plus, the tag team here has a way better GX attack than Rayquaza does, and I will argue with you in the comment section if you disagree. Speaking of which, there is a comment section, so tell me what you think about this deck. I'm fairly enamoured, but I would like to know where you are. So go nuts, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, because we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in, and we have a lot of fun doing so. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.